Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we need to adjust our landing module a little bit, but we also need to check for some contracts. An orbital station around Kerbin, 6 Kerbals, 2 pilots, and just in orbit of Kerbin has a docking port and can generate power. I mean, that's not too bad. A satellite in an equatorial orbit of Kerbin. That's not too bad. Is that going retrograde? That might be going retrograde. I'll have to check that. But even so, that would be doable. It's pretty high up there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the retrograde. So that's going to take a fair amount of delta V to do, but also a satellite in polar orbit. We do need to set up a bit of a communication system. So we can go ahead and do that. I also would like to hop into our research and development here. Okay. So we are currently absolutely required to go further to upgrade our R&D, but that is so expensive. In that case, we're going to be basically required to do these well, not this one, but to do this and this. However, I do want to check real quick here. What's going on with our science outpost? Are we still in darkness? Kinda looks like we are. Yes, indeed we are. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and head back to the Space Center. And then we do have a couple of things on our lander that I would like to fix. I don't think we have the tech to get RTGs yet, so that's not going to be an option. But let's go ahead and open up our Fleet 2L. Okay. And now this lander has a couple of problems. First, and in my opinion foremost, and the kitten is currently howling in the hallway, if you can hear that, we'll just call him a guest star. I just fed him. I don't know what he's yelling about. But these nose cones, and I need to go back to quad symmetry, these nose cones impact our re-entry module when we stage them. That's a bit of a problem. So let's go ahead and take off these tanks and these decouplers, and we'll go ahead and just put on some radial decouplers like this. Push them out just a little bit further. And we'll go ahead and place them here. And we may have to rerun our fuel line. Oops. Place them here. We may have to rerun our fuel lines. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quick. Let's see, where is this engine? Looks like that's not running fuel to the engine. Is that not running fuel to the engine? That should be running fuel to that engine. Maybe if I go down a bit further? Just not seeing any meters per second here. 5 seconds of burn, no thrust. Why isn't this running to the engine? That's odd. Maybe if we... Maybe it's trying to run it to the decouplers? And I need to go a bit more centralized? Okay, hang on. Let's just detach all of this. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. We need to be attaching it more like here? No, that's just not running it at all. Why is our engine not getting fuel? That is the question here. Maybe if we remove this fuel line and connect it on this side, Like, to there? Are we sure it's not getting fuel? Doesn't appear to be. Maybe if we attach it over here. No, that didn't work. All the way down on the nozzle. Nope. It definitely doesn't seem to be giving it fuel. Which is weird, because that should definitely fix the nose cone issue. But now we have a tanks are not delivering fuel to our engine issue. Come on. Attach it higher up? Nope. Maybe it's because crossfeed is enabled here? Or disabled. It started disabled. I don't know. These have fuel. Maybe if I grab these off of here and we try reattaching it again. Maybe slightly higher than we had it before. Still no fuel being delivered. We have 0 meters per second of total delta V. Oh, wait. I know what the problem is. The problem is I'm an idiot. Okay, it put the decoupler in the wrong place. There we go. Problem solved. I can't believe it took me that long. Okay. I'm sorry about that. That was altogether too lengthy. Okay, so that should fix that particular problem. Now, there is another problem here, and that is that we simply do not have very much storable battery power in this. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this service bay, and up on the top, I'm just going to put in 4 Z100 battery packs. Good old Batmans. And then we are going to go ahead and close that. Excellent. Okay, let's double check our staging, because we broke some things. So all 5 of these engines fire at first, and then our solid rocket boosters break off, and then our liquid fuel boosters break off, and then our first stage breaks off and our second stage activates. Then our second stage breaks off, and our nose cones break off, and our third stage can activate at that same time, which is our landing stage. And then our landing stage engine and fuel tanks break off, chutes deploy, and then this decouples. But that's not going to be happening, I'm thinking. Okay, so looking at this, let's go ahead and put in a couple of lights, because that was an issue before, to be sure. We don't have any of the extra stations or anything unlocked though, so we're not going to be going back to the moon immediately. We're going to be doing those satellite launches for a little bit, and that'll take another design pass. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for utility. Here we go. I'll just go ahead and put some Illuminator Mark 1s over here. We'll go ahead and turn those on. Excellent. And then I will also put an Illuminator Mark 1 set. How much do these weigh? Very, 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 very light. We'll also put a set up here. What could go wrong? In fact, we probably don't need the set up here. There. Now we're lit a bit. I'll turn those off by default. And go ahead and save that. And let's create ourselves a new craft. Now that we've fixed some of our problems with our landing module, we do need to make our communications satellites. So for our contract, we specifically need it to have a thermometer on the satellite, And we need this one to have a mystery goo unit on the satellite. Okay. So I think we're going to start with a Flea 1. Right? No, I think we'll start with a Flea 2L. We'll ditch the side boosters, or rather the solid rocket motors. We're not going to need that. And we're also going to ditch this stage up here. So we're just going to detach it here. We're going to get rid of the entire lander module. And we're just going to work with the Flea 2L, this section here. Now this is probably going to be massively overkill, but that's okay. I want a pod, specifically the only unmanned one that we have, I think. Oh, we do have the Octo. Do we want the Octo or the Staputnik? The Octo, I believe, has a built-in reaction wheel, and I think the Staputnik does not. So we're going to use the Octo. Where did it go? No, seriously, where did it go? I have no idea where the Octo went. Where's our root part? Okay, so what I'm... This is certainly awkward. I don't know where our root part is. Wait. What's this blob shadow here? Is that indicating where our root part... Oh, there it is. Okay, that was indicating where our root part was. Excellent. Okay. So, now I'm going to give this a very tiny amount of fuel. Something like a T200. Even that's a little bit overkill. I'm going to give it a very, very, very tiny engine. Maybe like a Spark. That might be too tiny. We'll give it a Terrier. Okay, and then we will go ahead and give that a decoupler. That's too big of a decoupler. TD12. There we go. Okay, and now we will need a thermometer and a mystery goo unit on this. Well, we don't need it on both. So I'm just going to stick a thermometer on this one, and we are then targeting... Which orbit? We are targeting this one, the polar orbit. Okay. So in that case, we're going to want to launch to the north, and we'll need a little extra delta V for that. I'm not concerned about our amount of delta V. I'm pretty sure we're going to be fine on the delta V front. We are going to need some power on this, so I'm going to go ahead and put a rechargeable battery pack up there, just so that we have enough power to get through the dark portions. We'll go ahead and put some power generation on here. And then we need to put a antenna on here. I do want this to be a relay antenna, and the HG5 is the only one we've got. We don't need 4 HG5s on here. So we're going to just go ahead and put it there. And then this is going to be inside of a fairing if we've got one. We do have a fairing. Excellent. Okay, we'll place this right about... Where can we? Right about here. Excellent. There's our fairing. It doesn't exactly cover this part. I guess I'll delete the fairing and we will rebuild this. Be a little bit more like that. Okay. So there's our fairing. Now this doesn't have much of a reaction wheel. So I'm just going to go ahead and put an SAS module right here below the fairing, and then we'll attach in the rest of this. And we should have plenty of thrust to weight here, right? 1.1, oof, that's a little on the low side. I thought we'd be good enough with ditching a lot of the weight, but apparently not. I mean, this up here has 656 meters per second. Fairing deploy would be further down, but we'll address that in just a moment here. I'm going to go ahead and call this the Flea Comsat. There we go. And then we need to address our power here, in that we don't have enough of it. We have just skippers on this, I believe. Yeah, these are just skippers. So realistically, there are two ways we can go about this. We can have less fuel that we bring along, or we can add in more power, like with the SRBs that we added before. But I really don't think the SRBs are necessary. I mean, we do have 1.1 thrust to weight ratio here, so maybe that's good enough. Maybe. Or maybe we should transition the second stage. Yeah, actually, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take this here. We're going to ditch the second stage, and we're going to remove that for now. We're going to have this be a T800 with a Terrier, and then a decoupler. And then we'll put in our transition, like that. That actually got us more delta V, and our thrust to weight is better. So yeah, that should all be good. Let's check our staging here. So our first stage should be these 3 engines, and then we stage and our liquid fuel boosters detach, and then we stage again, and that is definitely an unnecessary decoupler. We'll ditch that. There we go. And then we detach off our main core there. And at the same time, our second stage can go ahead and launch, or can go ahead and fire even. And then we detach our second stage. Now the fairing deploy should probably happen more like here. Thereabouts. Then we detach that there. That's a second decoupler? Okay. We technically don't need this decoupler then. We'll ditch that decoupler, and then this engine would fire at the same time. And I wanted this fairing to deploy down here. So yeah, that should be decent. We'll go ahead and do a test launch. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so we'll do that next episode. Subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.